Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp as we once again have a look at some of the games coming out for the Switch in this upcoming week. In terms of dates, we'll be going from the 14th of October up until the 20th to see if there's anything coming out this week that's worth your time and money. So which games are coming out for the Switch this week? Well, let's find out. The first of this week's games then is Vlad's Circus Descend into Madness. This calls itself a pixel art adventure filled with terror, twists and puzzles, and tells the story of a 1920s circus that burns to the ground. The consequence of this is a story full of mystery and pain where every shadow hides a twisted secret according to the blurb, and in terms of gameplay it promises puzzle solving elements and survival mechanics, and a labyrinth of a mansion with over 50 locations. A very interesting looking one this. I was expecting a point and click game I must say, but judging by the trailer there's definitely some action in there. And it's going to release on the 17th for £16.99. Next we have A Boy and His Blob Retro Collection. This bundles together two games, being A Boy and His Blob Trouble on Blobolonia, which came out on the NES originally, and you have The Rescue of Princess Blobette, which was out for the Game Boy. Whilst these games are of my time, I never actually played these originally, although I always liked the premise of having a blob that you could feed jelly beans to turn it into something that you needed to get past an obstacle in your way. I did, however, play the remake, which was very good for the Wii. That's also on the Switch, by the way, worth playing that one. But this one of these two original games is going to sell for £8.50 or your regional equivalent. Then we have Sonic Superstars, a new take on the classic Sonic high-speed action platforming. You can play solo or with up to 3 other players in local co-op, and there's also an 8-player battle mode for online as well again as locally. The aforementioned powers will allow you to multiply, swim up waterfalls, slow time or uncover hidden secrets, and it's interesting to see a new spin on a classic 2D platformer from Sonic, bearing in mind what's also coming later this week, as we'll see. This will sell for £54.99 or your regional equivalent. Following on from that we have Skull Island Rise of Kong. This is a third-person action adventure game which follows the origins of the orphaned Kong as he grows from a young Kong to the fully mature King of Skull Island. You'll unleash combos on your enemies, and there's also a rage mode to engage which will heighten your attacks. You'll leap and climb the mountainous terrain, and there are a number of boss fights as well. I almost get a warm nostalgic feeling for the very mediocre movie tie-in games of the 80s and 90s, and I do to this day enjoy it still when we do get a movie tie-in game. Whether this will be good or not, we'll see. But it's out on the 17th for £34.99, but you can get 20% off of that price up until just before launch. Also this week we have Hellboy Web of Wyrd, which is a roguelike action brawler with a story created in partnership with Dark Horse Comics and Hellboy creator Mike Mignola. It uses an art style to faithfully create the style of Mike Mignola's original masterpieces, and it says here you'll be fighting a menagerie of nightmarish creatures and homunculi as you explore the realms within the weird. Apologies if I'm not saying that word right, I've never read Hellboy comics, I've seen a couple of the movies back in the day, but most of what happened in those has long since left my memory. But this is out on the 18th and it will cost £22.49.
I'm gonna be sore. Definitely not Kansas.
Then we have Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed Ecto Edition. This is based on the game that came out last year, I believe it was elsewhere, and this new edition includes both the game and all 4 of the DLC packs released earlier this year. This is an asymmetrical multiplayer game with a 4 versus 1 setup where players will either play as part of the Ghostbusters team or as a ghost, similar in some respects to games like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th. It takes place after the recent Afterlife movie, and as far as I've seen, this game got mediocre to good scores when it released last year. I was a massive Ghostbusters fan as a kid, growing up obviously in the 80s, but it is a franchise I think they should just leave alone now. I didn't like the new Afterlife film, I don't know what other people thought of it, but if you did enjoy it or can't get enough Ghostbusters, then this one is out on the 19th. The next game is Agatha Christie Murder on the Orient Express. This is a modernised retelling of Agatha Christie's classic story set in 2023, and it promises to surprise even the most dedicated fan, with new elements added to the story. You'll play as Poirot, of course, who is surrounded by a group of singular characters, all suspects, each with their own secrets and motivations. I've enjoyed all of these type of games that have been on, well, any console really. The Sherlock Holmes games, the other Poirot games. I do like a good mystery. This one will be out on the 19th, and it will cost £32.99.
There she is, Poirot, the most celebrated train in history. A passenger lies dead in his bed, stabbed.
You place the matter in my hands.
We also have Gargoyles Remastered, which revives the 1990s 16-bit side-scrolling platformer based on the Disney property. You play as Goliath, the leader of the Gargoyles, and will be using your strength and your ability to scale towers and buildings with your razor-sharp claws, and also gliding through the air to get through each level. You can toggle between new hand-drawn graphics and the classic 16-bit style. I always love it when games give you that option, and it includes modern features such as rewind, widescreen presentation and achievements. The Gargoyles show was one that I never really watched, I must be honest, as a kid, so I don't know a huge amount about it, other than that it's well loved, but this will come out on the 19th for £12.49 or your regional equivalent.
Stone by day, warriors by night. We are defenders of the...
We then have Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. This promises to ramp things up from the first game, with access to more than 130 vehicles, new Hot Wheels monster trucks included, and vehicles from the entertainment world. It says you can also ride motorbikes and ATVs, each with their own racing style, and the backgrounds will range from the backyard of a house to a mini golf course or a village in the Wild West. I did enjoy the first Hot Wheels game. The one thing I didn't like so much about it was how many of the cars you had to buy separately as DLC. I thought there should have been a better balance in terms of what you get as a base game, and bearing in mind this also has a deluxe edition, I'm gonna guess it's a similar sort of story this time round. It's out on the 19th though for £44.99 or your regional equivalent. The penultimate game for the week is Inescapable, No Rules, No Rescue. The story of this one is that it's set on a tropical island resort where you've been kidnapped and forced to participate in a twisted reality TV show with 10 strangers. At the end of your stay you'll receive $500,000, but the catch is that there are no rules on the island and no hope of rescue. It sounds like a mix between Danganronpa and something like the Zero Escape series, both series that I have a lot of time for, so that's absolutely fine by me. But we'll see exactly how it plays when it releases next week on the 19th for £44.99. And finally for the week then we have Super Mario Bros. Wonder. As with Sonic that I mentioned earlier, this is a new take on the 2D side-scrolling adventures of Mario and friends. You can play as Mario, Luigi, Peach or others, and the twist this time is that each course contains its own wonder flower. Collecting one can change the environment around you. It could be that pipes move, terrain tilts, or piranha plants start singing. You can play it locally or online with up to 4 players, and I am very interested to see how this one turns out, because I do think that the 2D Mario games have needed a good shot in the arm for a while now, and hopefully this is the game that provides it. This one is going to release on the 20th and it will cost you £49.99 or your regional equivalent. So there you have it, another week of Nintendo Switch releases. Do any of these games interest you? Will you be picking any of them up? Please do let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget, if you are looking for eShop credit to pick any of these games up, you can get your eShop cards via our website, switchup.gg. Doing so will earn you 5% of your purchase price back in cashback, and you can also get a further 5% straight discount if you use the code SwitchUp. There's also a link down there to Play Asia if you're looking to import any games. Use the link, use the code stated, and you'll get yourself 5% off of your order from there. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.